How are you all doing? Good evening. Well, I am Dr. Kathryn España, and today I want to talk to you in a pretty relaxed way, honestly. I want you, after I talk a little about certain things, to also share your thoughts in the chat, or you can unmute yourselves afterwards. I would really appreciate it if I could hear any thoughts or feedback you might have regarding this. Today, I'm going to talk quite a bit, specifically, first of all, about the fact that I know it's no secret that for most people right now, business is a bit slow compared to how it was maybe 6 months ago or however long it's been. Number one, it has a lot to do with the fact that it's summer. And the reality is that in this type of business, things often slow down in the summer. But also, so many people nowadays, and I think this is something we talked about in the Spanish training last week, people start to wonder, how can I sell more? What's the problem? And we never stop to think that maybe it's the energy or the way we're presenting things. I feel that, especially with this product, it's really important what kind of energy we bring and what it is that we want. Because in my opinion, people aren't buying a patch, people aren't buying a business, people are buying your conviction, what you believe about the product essentially, and eventually about the business too. Because if you don't believe it yourself, if you're not convinced, if you're not completely like at the level where, as one of my good friends, Margaret, once told me, I talk about this as if I had created it myself. I mean, if you were David Smith, Dr. David Smith, and you spent 10 years in the lab, spent the $4+ million they say it cost, would you talk about it like, oh, I have this little product, a little patch, it's nice, it's helped me? No. You would describe it as if this is the greatest invention in the world. So I think the first thing we need to do before they are constantly complaining and arguing that the compensation plan is completely ineffective and doesn't work at all. And that's why I honestly don't know what to think. I don't know, it's like, really, at this point, how much do you actually believe in the potential of this project then? You can say something like, and I have some notes here, that's why I'm talking, because sometimes I talk too much and suddenly I go off topic. So today I wanted to stay on point. People buy into beliefs, as I say. People don't buy products, people buy beliefs, people buy stories. Think about different companies. For example, Apple doesn't sell phones, it doesn't sell computers, Apple sells innovation. Think about the brand Nike. They don't sell shoes, they sell the belief that anyone can excel in sports or whatever you use them for. And we aren't just selling a patch either. We're sharing a possibility, a business opportunity, a chance to improve your health, and the conviction, the way we speak, that comes across a lot. I mean, I've noticed it myself. In fact, I was at a lunch yesterday with someone who isn't interested in the business, someone who had tried this technology, these patches, with someone else, and we were talking. I was just telling her what I've seen, my own testimony, and she said to me, oh, wow, now I really get it because you've been doing this for 2.5 years. I mean, you really believe in this. And I said, yes. People need to feel that. And when you still haven't conveyed that, then it just looks more like a transaction. We end up thinking we have to sell something instead of thinking, let me share how this is helping me. And more importantly, let me think about how I can help that other person. If tomorrow, this is something I love that I got from a book I was reading, if LifeWave disappeared tomorrow, would you miss it? Would you miss LifeWave? I mean, put it there in the chat. I'm someone who's very lively, but put it in the chat. If not, I mean, would you miss it? Tell me, would you miss it? I don't see anyone writing. Maybe I don't have it open. I don't know if the chat isn't open. Is it open? Yes, it's open. I had it wrong. Of course, a lot, for sure. So why? I mean, I'd like to know what has really changed for you, whether it's the product or the business. Write to me exactly what has changed in your life. What has LifeWave done in your life? No one has written it. Everyone would miss it, but nobody. Let's see, would absolutely miss it. Of course, I'd die. Well, people aren't. Youth, it's given me energy. They're not writing because my health has improved enormously. My mom's health, health perfect. People don't connect with data. People don't connect with the patch that activates the peptide, the stem cell, the study, believe it or not. People generally connect with convinced people. They connect with that. It has solved my constipation problem, my health. They connect with those specific testimonials. And selling creates resistance. People don't like to be sold to. And nowadays, I know there are a lot of people in multi-level marketing. And I know that maybe they will see this training and honestly want to come after me or even lynch me for saying this. But I truly and deeply believe, especially when it comes to this specific product, that nowadays there are just so many different people out there promising so many radical changes with a complex multi-level marketing business model that sometimes it actually creates a lot of internal resistance. Whereas a straightforward, genuine, and simple human conversation just generates much more trust in the long run. So instead of making a pitch and instead of giving a big presentation about this, let's have a conversation with people. Instead of thinking, I want to sell this, think I want to share something that has helped me a lot. And I know you've heard it 1,000 times, and I always say it, and to my people, it's like when you go to share about a really great movie or restaurant, and people can feel your excitement when you say, wow, I ate the best sandwich of my life. You have to go to that restaurant because of this, this, and this. The people can feel it. And you're not selling them the sandwich because you're not even going to gain anything from the sandwich. But when we get into the mindset, and I understand this is a business, obviously, those of you connected here today want to learn how to get to this point and how to reach the next level with your business. But I have proven it myself. I have seen it. Of course, there are people who only talk about the business and do extremely well. Most of those people are the ones who have a multi-level marketing network. And there are people like them, and I respect them, absolutely. But I've also realized that most human beings, like myself and many of you connected here, work differently. And we don't have that network. And it's not the mentality of sell, recruit, and then we try to duplicate that. We have to sit down and really see what actually works for me. And I've realized that when you speak from the heart, when you talk about helping others, and when you want to share instead of sell, honestly, that flips a switch for a lot of people, and the business will come on its own anyway. Now, when we're doing the business, I completely agree. And that will be another training session, that we have the system, that people need to get trained, that people need to get connected. Every time we do these trainings on Thursdays, I end up crying. There are 30 people connected here, and I know you've listened to me. I don't want to scold anyone, but Wellness Revolution is a team. I don't know how many thousands of people, and there are 30. So that tells you the 30 who are connected today, honestly, congratulations. You are dedicated to this. I know there are people who will watch the recording. But in any case, in my opinion, there's no justification for there being only 30. So yes, part of the business is that you have to train yourself. But I do think that for many people, the idea of speaking, of sharing, of saying when you're inviting someone, I don't know if this is for you, but I thought of you because this changed something important in my life. The pressure disappears. It's not a pressure of, you have to check out this business. It's not a pressure of, you have to buy. It's that I want to know your opinion. Honestly, this changed my life in this way, that way, and another way. And honestly, that's going to help a lot. Believe, as I told you before, as if this were your own. I mean, imagine that you created this product, that you dedicated 10 years to it, like I said before. Would you speak with embarrassment? Would you apologize before mentioning it? Would you be afraid to recommend it? No, right? And I know that many other leaders have done trainings before talking about this. If this were a business, I mean, if you opened a store and a patch factory and had to take out a loan, whether it's $10 million or $1 million or whatever, $500,000, say $20,000. You would be working and talking to everyone without embarrassment because you believe in something, because you invested 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, 500,000, just name an amount, any number I mention. But since this is a small business, so to speak, because honestly, the most you invest is $1,700. So I think that's why people don't speak with as much passion. People are afraid to talk about it, worried about what others will say, and I've realized that's the first thing we need to work on. I tell everyone 90%, and in my opinion, 95% of this business is mindset. It's believing in yourself. I mean, when you truly believe that this product is what it is, as we know, many of you who are connected here, I know your stories, and that's one of the reasons why I keep going. As a doctor, believe me, and I've been criticized by a lot of people talking about being a charlatan, about how I could possibly think that this product, because it's an alternative medicine product, but when I hear your stories, I know deep down that this product truly works and that it's incredible. I've been here for more than 2.5 years now, and I've definitely seen for real all the changes in all those people. So let's sit down and think before jumping in and saying that the compensation plan, what is it? That I can't recruit? Or that my friend Maria isn't doing anything? And let's self-examine ourselves. Number one, do we really believe in this? I mean, are we really so passionate that we would go to any lengths because this product is incredible? And the other thing is, what are we doing ourselves? Why? Because it's very easy, and I said this last week in the Spanish training, it's very easy to say, it's that my team isn't working, or it's so-and-so, or it's the compensation plan, which I know a lot of people have complained about. And yes, some of those things are true, and that's why the company is changing many things about the compensation plan. But the only thing we can control is what we ourselves do. And it's been completely proven with so many people who do this type of business or who work in teams in general, that the best way to create momentum and the best way to get things moving is when people see you doing it. If you are moving forward and you are doing the work, that is simply infectious. It catches on and people will get excited and they will do it too. And it will simply become a chain reaction. But if we spend all our time just trying to revive your team and you personally are not doing the same work, then honestly, that doesn't generate that positive energy. We don't need to convince everyone either. Remember, this isn't about convincing people, it's about informing them, it's about telling them a story, it's about sharing the gossip. People love gossip, telling them how this is truly changing your life in the most natural way possible. The more you are yourself, believe me, the more people will understand. We just need to speak, as I say, with that authenticity so that the person says, wow, I want to know more. Because honestly, you are convinced without being annoying. And that's something you have to learn. Because it's one thing to be convinced when you say it, and another thing to say, come on, but yes, but try it, I want you to, but when? Because nobody likes to be bothered. So it's a matter of asking yourself, well, how can I talk about and it's something you practice, because not everyone is born being the best communicator in the world. That's why you have to practice. So we had a training session with my team about 3 weeks ago on using ChatGPT. And I think it's a really good way, but you have to learn how to talk to it. And sometimes you have to ask it a lot of questions like, look, I want to talk to a friend about the product I'm using because I feel this way and that way, but I don't want it to sound like I'm selling it. I just want to tell a story and I don't want it to be too long. And then you read it and see how it goes. And if not, you tell ChatGPT, no, look, I didn't like that. That's too long. Or please, well, and it's amazing how with that you can start learning to say certain things without sounding too lengthy. Again, people don't like to be given a sermon that lasts 1,000 hours and without sounding like you're selling something. Conviction is contagious. When you sound excited, and that's why all the people who do multi-level marketing, and I'm one of them, sometimes I make the same mistake and don't call people on the phone. I don't know why. I criticize, I know that all of you, many here and many of you think the same way. I criticize my daughter's generation saying that they never talk on the phone, and we do the same thing. Hi friend, can I call you? I mean, back when I was my daughter's age, the phone would ring and you would just pick it up. You didn't have to call first to ask and get permission to call someone. If the person was busy, well, they just wouldn't answer. And I'm the same. I mean, just as guilty because I do the same thing sometimes. And I say, wow, I criticize it, and honestly, I do the same thing. And it's something I'm working on. But that's why they say that a phone call is much more powerful than any text message. And a voice message is better because people can sense see your emotion, but a phone call is much better, or even better, having coffee in person. Even better. I mean, ideally, it's best to set up meetings, even if it's one-on-one, or that's why I love doing in-person events. It doesn't have to be an event with 200 people. When I say an event, I mean you're talking to someone face to face, in person. You can transmit that energy so much more than through text. And I think that nowadays, the number of people who are still just sending texts like, hi, I want to tell you that blah, 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 or I want to invite you, they don't feel your excitement and they don't feel your conviction. It's very easy. I know it's easier to hide behind a text, but let's work on it. Let's work on trying to make those calls. And I'm going to give you a challenge that includes myself. Because this challenge is going to be for me too, that in these next 30 days, okay? And why do I say 30 days? Because starting today, there are exactly 30 days until the day in order to be able to successfully secure the chance to win that exclusive VIP pass for the upcoming Anaheim conference in California. On August 16th, the deadline will officially come to an end exactly. This is the final date that we have to meet all the necessary requirements to qualify for that specific program. What is that program? If you haven't seen it, it's very interesting. It's a program where they will give you $500 for you to spend on whatever you want, on the trip, on the flight, on anything. In addition, you'll get a private conference with everyone who won with Dr. David Smith. You'll also get 2 tickets to Disney and VIP seats closer to the stage during the conference. So it's a pretty interesting package. The way to win it, well, later I'll tell Lola and the others to post it again, but essentially you have to earn 500 points. You accumulate those 500 points with clients, with new partners, and also when your new partners move up to different ranks. It's not impossible to do it in 30 days. How about we grab the phone and start calling? I can assure you that there will be a change. Sales and recruitment will definitely increase one way or another. If you've just been chatting all the time instead of picking up the phone and making sure we talk all the time, because conversations start to spark curiosity, build relationships, and people generally want to know more when they talk to you than when they just see a chat. So I had something written down here that said, in the next 30 days, I want to do a challenge to take these actions. First of all, we know that what I'm saying right now is about business, but it's also very important. And we've always talked about this, and I know Jay and everyone talks about discipline, because building momentum is actually very easy. Usually when people are just starting out, when things are going well, they build momentum, everything's great. But if you don't have that consistency, that discipline, just as quickly as you went up, you come down just as fast. And when you build momentum and then it drops, it's much harder to start over again. But when you have discipline and you're steady here, believe me, it's much easier to stay there and keep moving up little by little instead of riding this roller coaster all the time. So it's also very important to take care of yourself, to take care of your mind, to feed your mind, as I like to say, because as I mentioned, this is 95% mental. So let's make a commitment. Number 1, read at least 10 to 15 minutes of a personal growth book every day. For those who want to join Jay's book club, I did it to hold myself accountable, to make sure I was going to do it and actually read. And honestly, it has worked for me because it has really forced me. It's like when a teacher gives you homework, right? I have to read because they're going to ask me questions. Well, it's just like that. If you can't join because I know it's at noon, then make your own group with 2 or 3 friends. Say, let's read this book and let's meet on such and such day to discuss it. And that kind of forces you because it gives you a deadline for when you have to finish the book. Listen to a podcast while you drive or listen to a live web video. I tell my people all the time, I don't listen to music in the car. And if it's not when you're driving, then when you're on the subway, on the train, whatever way you spend the most time. I go on YouTube and I have several channels that I follow. I follow Dr. Stacy. I follow Dr. Jenna Solomon. Obviously, I follow Wellness Revolution. I follow the LifeWave channel. Today, for example, I watched a training that Dr. David Schmidt did about X2O, about water. I think the training was last week. I hadn't seen it. Honestly, I hadn't even noticed because in these last 2 weeks with the earthquake in Venezuela, I've been kind of disconnected, but as I said, I mean, that's a habit of mine. I get in the car, grab my phone, open YouTube, and check which video from any of the channels I haven't seen yet. And every day I watch a live web video. And believe me, I know quite a bit about live web, I think. I think I've learned a lot, but I don't know everything. And you'll always learn something from someone, even if it's exactly the same information, but just said in a different way. And all of this that I'm talking about here is going to give you more belief in the product because it will give you more confidence in yourself. So by doing these things, you'll realize that you'll start to increase that belief and conviction in how to talk about the product. Exercise every day, and we should all exercise. Ideally every day, even if it's just a little, because that will help your energy. And many times what I do is listen to these podcasts while I'm exercising. Use your products consistently. I hope I don't have to say this to the people here, but I mention it because I'm surprised from time to time when people say, yeah, I use it when I remember. You have to be a product of the product. And if you're not using it every day, how can you speak with conviction and encourage others to do the same? Share at least one testimonial a day and reach out to new people every day. I know that Jay's system is at least 2 people a day, which honestly, I don't think that's extraordinary. I mean, everyone can talk to 2 people a day, but even if it's just one, if you think that's all there is to it, but if you truly do it every day with discipline, you'll realize that this will start to grow no matter what. And most importantly, you'll start to believe more in the product and believe more in yourself. And as I told you, today, the last 30 days begin because August 16th is the last day to qualify for this VIP at the conference. So what does that mean? It means that everyone connected here should be in Anaheim, California at the conference. Because yes, what's the best way to truly convince yourself and have more confidence in the product and the company? There's no one who goes to the company's conference and comes back saying, oh no, honestly, I don't know if I believe in this. No one. I mean, those who have gone, those who went last year to California, those who went to Dallas the year before, they came back on a high like, wow, this company is amazing, this product is incredible. So that's another way it injects you with that conviction, that energy, because you see Dr. David Smith speak, because you see all the people from the company, because you see a huge crowd. Last year, there were more than 15,000 people or something like that. So that energy is contagious. On top of that, we as Wellness Revolution want to hold an event this year where we can all see each other, hug, and connect in California. So it's very important that we're there because honestly, it would make me really sad if we're there. Just 5 people, 10 people, and that's it. How boring. The idea is for all of us to be there because that same energy, again, is contagious. So if you haven't bought your ticket yet, there are still tickets available, okay? So that's part of my job. If you haven't bought your ticket, please look for the link, ask for it. Honestly, I don't have the link handy right now to put it here in the chat. But think about it. Think about going, and even better, think about winning that VIP where they'll give you $500 to help you get to California, to help you with food, with the hotel. And lastly, remember, because I always forget to talk about this and it's super important, all the products you buy for yourself are marketing for your business. This is a business, here in the United States at least. In other countries, honestly, I'm not very familiar with the tax situation, but here you can deduct this from your business as an expense, just like this is a company. You are the owner of your company, of a business. In other words, this business is real. As if you had opened a store called Lifeware, you have a virtual store. So at the end of the year, the miles you've used to drive from your house to a friend's house, I use an app called Mile IQ. I'll put it here, which I love. It turns on automatically every time I get in the car. It turns on and tracks all the miles of where I'm going. And then it asks me, were those miles business related or personal? And at the end of the year, it gives me a report of how many miles were related to the business. And every time I travel to any presentation, to a friend's house, to have a coffee, if I travel far, whatever it is, and even every time I travel to play soccer with my kids, which is 300 miles, are you sure? I have a life wave, a tattoo here that says life wave. We should all have a tattoo here that says life wave. And wherever you go, you're going to talk about life wave. I took a Christmas trip to Geneva with my family. I opened LifeWave with some people in Geneva. So the ticket to Geneva, my hotel, and everything I did in Geneva, those were business expenses because I went to Geneva to work. Now, did I also go skiing and have a good time with my family during my time off? Yes, I did. But all the big business owners from any company do the same thing. And these are business trips. So we have to take advantage of that. Going to Anaheim, to California is a trip. Now that is a 100% business trip. Are we also going to have a good time? Are we going to Disney? Yes, we're going to Disney, but it's a business and training trip. So 100% of the cost of that trip, because I know people see it as an expense and say, I'm not making enough money yet, so it's an expense. No, it's not an expense. First, it's an investment in yourself, in your business. And second, you'll still be able to deduct all of that from your taxes. So in the end, you'll basically get that money back because instead of paying it to the government, you'll be saving it. So, I think I've already given too many reasons why I wanted to talk about this, but when I'm talking about conviction and truly believing in it, there's no better way to believe it than by being there in California. That I can assure you. So I'm quickly reading the chats here, info about the points for California. Okay, they've already posted it there. Perfect, great, thank you, thank you. Lola, if you're there, they've already put the information up. So I think I've already talked a lot. I didn't want this to be a sermon all day long. I'd love to answer questions about part of this. I love answering questions at the end of the trainings, whether it's about belief, about anything, about California. If you have any questions about that, because I was just thinking today, I said, wow, we already have almost 3 months. I have to book a hotel, a flight, because it involves everything. It's not just buying the ticket, right? About California. So take advantage and start planning your trip. I don't know if anyone wants to unmute themselves or if you just want to put it in the chat. But in these last few minutes, I would love to answer any questions or comments you have about what we discussed.
Hello.
Alexandra, tell me.
Hi, how are you? Well, I had a question. For example, I often want to put together a comprehensive list with several individuals I've recently met. Sometimes I find myself feeling quite conflicted about inviting them all to a meeting over to my personal residence, right? We are talking about 8 people or so, and I just can't decide. Sharing the information on Instagram like that so they see you and you send them information and they know that this is what you do. Or maybe I'm just there being super active on social media. And maybe people will notice and you call them, but they already know, right? So that's why I'm thinking maybe it's better to be a bit more private on Instagram and do it more one-on-one with people and invite them to chat, right? That's kind of my first mindset issue. Like maybe I would like to, because I know everyone runs their business differently and it works for them, right? But I wanted to get rid of that belief or see how that mindset could help me, right? That's the first one. And the second question, I don't know if from your experience or others you could help me, because with those people I want to invite to my house, I can do it, but I don't want to burn out if I do it alone. I know I have the knowledge, I know that, but it's like sometimes you end up talking too much. So I don't know if it's better to talk with the upline and another person so I don't go at it alone, to do something like a relaunch and do it twice a month, for example, or just go for it and do it myself. So I would like.
Well, I didn't understand the first question. Are you asking me if I can do Instagram or not, or invite people? And the answer is everything. The answer is all of the above. In English, when they say that, I don't know how to say that in Spanish. Of course, you have to talk on Instagram. Of course, and if you have those people you want to invite them. There's nothing wrong if you're talking to the right person. My idea is to invite them and be as natural as possible to have a conversation between friends. If you want to give a formal presentation and you're scared because you think, I don't want to talk too much, then use my presentation, use Rachel's presentation, use Jay's presentation. No, I think Sarah, Rachel, and I have a short presentation, so.
In person, I want to do it in person.
Yes, but you can set up a TV. I mean, it's in person at your house. I'm not at your house because, well, I don't live near you, or I don't know if Rachel lives near you. I don't know where you live. But if your sponsor doesn't live near you, you can still do it in person. Let's have a cup of coffee and talk. Look, this is what has helped me. Be super authentic. Don't overthink it. You're overthinking it. When you overthink things, they don't come out naturally. People, like I told you, people don't buy a product just for the product because generally, especially if they're coming to your house, people are buying into your experience. So you have to show your experience. If you feel that these people really need something more technical, a presentation, you grab a TV or a computer and say, let's all watch it together. And you sit with them and watch the presentation. And if they have any questions or whatever, you answer their questions. If you really want to do a presentation, go ahead. But it's really just about meeting up, talking, and listening. That's the most important thing. So you tell them, and I assure you, if you say, look, this helps me sleep, your friend is going to say, oh, really? I haven't slept in 10 years because, my family. And they're going to tell you their story. And then the other one will say, you know what? Me too. I also suffer from pain here, pain there, and not being able to sleep. And when you start listening, you'll automatically respond and say, well, this can help you with that and with this and with that. So for me, when I do an event like this, I rarely like to make a super formal presentation. Can you do it? Of course you can. But it also works really well. It's a conversation, and the most important thing is to listen. Listen, talk less, because they're going to tell you. I mean, you're going to tell your story, and I can assure you that people will start talking. And then an hour and a half will have gone by while they're having a coffee, a drink, whatever. And people will already have a general idea of what it is. But if you don't want to give the presentation, use a screen or one of the ones that are already made. And the second question, I already forgot what it was. What was it again?
No, that was it. That was it. It was the same thing.
The thing about
Instagram.
doing everything. That's it. You have to do everything because you have to put yourself out there. And remember that on Instagram, it's not that you're selling, you're providing information. And people need to know, above all, people need to know. If I look at your Instagram or your Facebook, I should be able to scroll through and at some point see that you're talking about this technology in some way. Because what happens? You talk to someone and that person 6 months later says, oh, this hurts. Oh, I think Alexandra once told me about that patch. And they're going to check your Instagram. That's the first thing they'll do. And if they don't see anything, after seeing several posts, they'll think, no, it must be that it's not working for her anymore. Maybe she's not selling it anymore. Maybe. But if they open your profile and see that you post not necessarily sales ads, but that you communicate, that you share information, people, when they think, I want to try that product, they should say, let me reach out to Alexandra. I mean, I've seen it 80 times. Alexandra is the one with the patches. Alexandra is the one from LifeWave. People need to know that you're connected with LifeWave, that you have LifeWave practically tattooed on you, and not in an annoying way, but people should know that you still, of course, that you believe in this product. Do you understand? That's why it's important for us to be communicating on social media as well. Not necessarily because we're going to sell directly through social media. It's because we're letting people know, hey, I'm here. Hey, I still use this. But remember to stay compliant. If you're going to share a testimonial, I only recommend doing it in stories. Don't make a post with any testimonial because it's very hard to stay compliant when giving testimonials. Because people might say, even if you're not saying this cured my arthritis, if you say it used to hurt and now it doesn't, you're implying that this cured your arthritis. So honestly, the compliance team could come and say that you're doing it wrong. Usually they don't bother you as much with stories because they disappear after 24 hours, and besides, most people watch stories. Nowadays, I actually think stories work even better. So you need to stay active there as well. Perfect. Thank you very
Much. Yes.
You are absolutely the most delightful. Please tell me.
Sorry, regarding what you just said, I had someone close to me whose account was suspended for a while.
Yes, you have to be very careful, especially if people call you out. And if the compliance team sends you an email and tells you, because it's happened to me and it's happened to several of and I know it happened to Rachel and it happened to Jimena, it happens to everyone, you just have to listen to them. Because when they close your account is when you say, no, they're not going to, No. They call you and tell you, you have 3 days to fix what I'm telling you. And to write to me and let me know I've fixed it. And if in those 3 days you don't communicate with them, they send you another warning and say, hey, you haven't talked to me, you have 3 more days. If in 3 days you don't talk to me, we'll cancel your account. So really, compliance doesn't want to close anyone's account. They want to protect themselves and protect us as a company so that we don't get into trouble with the FTC, which is the government agency for all multi-level marketing companies. So they want to work with us. Are they annoying? Yes, they're annoying, but honestly, they want what's best and they don't want to close any accounts. If you work with them and simply delete what they tell you to delete, there's no problem. That's it. But if you ignore them, that's where the problem starts.
Thank you.
Don't ignore them. Claudette, tell me, how are you?
Very well, very well. Thank you. Honestly, I loved the dynamic you used today and for helping us build this awareness. I love the thing about LiveWave because I think I have it too. That was really deeply ingrained in me. So honestly, I totally connected with you on that point. And I think that just recently I spoke with a very wise leader and he told me something powerful. If there's no conviction, then the very first thing you absolutely need to have is conviction. If you don't believe in the product and in the company, then what are you doing here? Right? So, well, it's just that simple. So thank you.
Thank you for the comment. And look, just recently we had a leaders meeting and there was a leader, I'm not going to say the person's name just to keep it private, but a very, very big leader who makes a lot of money. And because of this compensation plan issue, because it's not, I mean, this isn't a secret. Yes, there are people who are affected by it and that's why the company is changing it. And that person says, wow, I lost almost 60% of my huge income. And there are a lot of companies calling me to get me to move to another company because this is a very big person in network marketing, someone who makes a lot of money. But that person says, I'm not leaving because I believe in this product too much. It's because this product is incredible. It's because I know that this company is doing what it has to do. So the conviction that this person has, I said, wow. And that's where this training comes from, because after being with them, I said, that's it. That's what makes a person successful. Okay, yes, I understand that a lot of people in network marketing, you, me, the person, the system, the business, the show, that works for some people, but what I can tell you does work for everyone is conviction. If you truly believe it and have LiveWeb tattooed here in a beautiful way, not in an annoying way, not in a way where you're constantly bothering people, but in a genuine way, people can feel it. And I can assure you that you will notice a difference in your business. I'm checking to see if anyone else. Doctor, will the event with Wellness Ref be on the days of the conference? Yes. They already answered like that. At night or the day before? Yes, it will be during the conference. We're not sure which day yet because the last time we spoke with someone from corporate, I think they're changing how the concerts are going to be. So I think there will be a concert on the first night and the last night. So we're going to hold the event on the day when there isn't a concert, so there's no conflict. But yes, it will be during the conference. Indira, tell us.
Hello, good evening already. Look, well, there is really nothing new to report, just more of the exact same thing, just like Claudette said. I truly want to express my gratitude and thank you so much for these trainings because, well, it has simply been an incredible experience. To reinforce the idea that this is a mindset business. And, well, I was going to share something I did today. Look, this bottle, I don't know if you can see it here. This bottle is the one they gave us last year, right? And today, just by chance, I filled it with, I don't know if you can see it well, but anyway, it's full of stickers. And well, these stickers are, it is simply about small, consistent messages that reinforce that core idea. Well, I am deeply committed to this fundamental concept that we must constantly surround ourselves with positive thoughts about every single thing that we choose to do throughout our entire lives. And obviously, especially with this business, which I've now been doing for almost 2 full years, I was actually thinking to myself this morning that the big conference is coming up very soon. And last year, I remember I told myself that if I hadn't reached a certain rank by the time this conference arrived, I simply wouldn't go. But well, first of all, there's still some time left and I am still working hard toward that goal. I have been diligently working on achieving that specific personal goal I set for myself. But the reality of the situation is that over these almost 2 full years in this first experience with this specific type of entrepreneurial business venture, which is still quite new to me, I've come to truly understand that sometimes the entire process can go a bit slower than we might initially expect. But if we stay steadfast and consistent in our efforts, being persistent, and as you just said, it is about consistently and unfailingly doing exactly the right thing, always doing what needs to be done, even when that ultimate goal doesn't come quite as quickly as we want it to. It's simply about keeping at it, fueling that fire every single day, because I know deep down that I'm going to achieve it sooner rather than later. I'm going to accomplish my goal because there's a profound belief, because I truly believe so much in this specific product, in this entire company. And honestly, I don't think I'm ever going to give up because the product is just too extraordinary. The opportunity is immense. And what we've experienced together and what we are currently building is truly special.
Of course, thank you. Thank you, Indira. Yes, 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 we have to keep believing, and we'll see each other in California. Well, one of the questions here, someone asks, do you know when the office in Colombia will open? I don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. They haven't told us yet. The only thing I can tell you, based on what we've been told, is that this is the first country in Latin America that will open, but honestly, we don't know when. I hope that in October they can tell us a bit more. In your opinion, how many times should we share about the product on social media? Look, that is so variable because it also depends on your social networks, how often you share things on your networks. I mean, are you someone who is super active and posts every day, puts up 5, 10, 20 stories, or are you someone who posts once a month on social media? So, if you're someone who is super active and posts every day, then I don't know, maybe at least 2 or 3 times a week, it's something that needs to be consistent. And in a natural way, you don't always have to say, let me tell you about X39 today. No, instead, maybe you're at the gym and you're wearing it and you talk about going to the gym, but you have it on. You don't even mention X39, but you show it because you're wearing it. You get it? Or maybe it's like yesterday, I had a really bad night, but thanks to my patches, I'm fine, something like that. Without necessarily making a post about what the patch is. And from time to time, of course, you do need to talk about what the benefits are and what it actually is. But just with that alone, people know and people notice, oh, wow, they're still using the technology. Wow. I love a post Rachel made recently that said, this isn't a trend. I mean, this isn't just something fashionable. I mean, I've been using it for 2 years, a year, 6 months, 3 months, however long it's been. But it wasn't something you just used for a week because it was trendy. So people notice, and believe me, you'll see that a lot of people who once told you no, when they see that you're still doing this and that, wow, you're still at it. Now, Lupita has been at it for 6 months and she's still talking about the same thing. So they'll say, well, it must be that she really believes in this because otherwise she wouldn't still be doing it. So that's the idea, that this is how we show people your day-to-day life. So yes, it all depends on how much. Does the account have to be public on all social networks? Personally, I think yes, because that way everyone will be able to see you. I understand people who want to be more private, but if you don't have it public, only your friends will see you and you won't reach more people. So by making it public, the Instagram and TikTok algorithms will show your content to people who don't follow you or people who find you that way. So that's my opinion. I've always kept mine public to try to reach more people. Emily, tell me.
Hello, hello. Hi, how is everyone? First of all, I want to congratulate Indira. Indira, right? I always get the name wrong because I've seen how she's been developing her social media, and every day I enjoy watching her more. So I have to congratulate her because she's done it in a very organic way. She shares her little dances, she shares a bit of everything. And I think it's really catchy. So I believe she'll soon reach the level she wants to get to. That's how I see it. So before I forget, I wanted to say that to congratulate her before anything else. A quick question. The other day, doctor, I was at a meeting.
You put yourself on mute. I can't hear you.
The other day, I was at a meeting, and I've seen many times that there is a lot of doubt about this. When I was in Destin, I met a lady named Darlene. And Darlene told me, look, the best thing about the patch, AccuLife, is that it has some little plastic pieces that make the patch stronger. AccuLife is the version of IceWave for animals, and I understand it's because the same product, even if it's identical, can't be used on both animals and people. And that's why there are two products that supposedly do the same thing. What's going on? In Dr. Jen Sullivan's book, there's a part where she says that there are these little plastic things included, which she calls stabilizers. She says, oh, that's used because there are some places where the heat is very intense, and to keep the patch from getting damaged, it's included. But the other day, someone asked, and I told them, look, this is what I know.
No, let me explain quickly, okay? I'll leave you here because I literally have to wrap up in 5 minutes since I have a meeting at 7. That only exists in Mexico and Canada, okay? I don't think it's available anywhere in the United States. Why? Because in those countries, when they went to apply for the license so that this could be sold there, the country exists. The way they marketed it was as an acupressure product. An acupressure product. To have an acupressure product, you need to have something that supposedly applies pressure to you. So in Mexico and Canada, whenever you buy the patches, they come with a little bag containing some small transparent plastic beads. Why? Because that's the legal way they have to sell them there. But it has been proven that you don't need those beads for any acupressure, that the patches work the same. Because in the rest of the world where they don't use those transparent beads, the patches are just as effective.
Yes, I understand that. I've heard that. What doesn't make sense to me is that the leaflet that comes with the animal patch tells you to take out that bead and put it where it hurts, then put the patch on top.
Maybe it's because animals, honestly, I've never bought AccuLife. So I can't tell you, maybe AccuLife always comes with those beads, simply because thinking about animals, since their skin is different from humans, if they have a lot of hair or whatever, they might need those beads so that essentially it stays on with more pressure. It could be, but honestly, I don't know if it comes with them. The book says so, and if every time you buy an AccuLife, it comes with that, that could be the reason. Saying that in Canada, they don't come with those beads. They used to come with them before. Maybe now it has changed, but before they did come with them.
Yes, all the AccuLife devices I've bought came with beads and the booklet that comes with the book.
That's why. It must be because with animals it's different, or it could also be that the way there's a science to it, in my opinion, the way they managed, so to speak, that they were granted permission to sell this for animals is that this is an acupressure product. And for it to be an acupressure product, you need that bead. So honestly, I don't know because I don't have experience with animals. I've never used this product on animals, but maybe that's the reason. Okay? And again, yes, I see that Shannon and several people are saying that in Canada, no. 2 years ago when I started, yes. Several people had told me that they did come, but it could be that it has changed. But I definitely know that in Mexico, all the patches do come with those little beads.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
So, but it has nothing to do with the heat or anything like that. It is fundamentally and exclusively related to the process of exerting a specific amount of physical pressure in the area. And this is primarily due to the fact that this is exactly the way this technology was officially authorized and regulated in that country.
Well, we've already found an error in Dr. Jenna Solomon's book.
I don't know, I don't have it. No,
I have it.
but anyway, thank you so much really for joining. I wanted this to be 45 minutes, but we're almost at an hour. You know, I'm always here and available for anyone. So that's it. We have to keep going. I hope to see you all in California so that I can, for those I haven't met in person, meet you, give you a hug, spend time together, talk, because that's also one of the reasons to go to these conferences, to connect with other people from different parts of the world. So, well, a little kiss. I hope you have a good night. Thank you for joining and see you next time.
Thank you.